65,583 LLM sessions, but only 82 attributed leads. That's the gap that we found when we pulled this citation data from 28 B2B SaaS companies last quarter. Quick TLDR of our study before we go deep. ChatGPT does almost all the volume right now, about 72% of all LLM sessions. Home pages take the citation on every engine and 82% of the leads. Pricing posts and long form deep dives are the only two blog formats that convert. Generic blog content gets 12,000 citations but 0 leads. Now let's get into the data. Section 1. How we ran the study. The sample is 28 B2B SaaS companies from our portfolio. The period is Q1 2026. Every URL that got an LLM citation in the quarter is in the dataset. 11,513 URLs to be exact. We sorted those URLs into 35 page type buckets like homepage, blog, pricing, alternatives, tools, dashboards, location pages, and so on. Most of the analysis time went into that bucket. Sessions are visits that came in from LLM citations. Leads are tracked through HubSpot's original source field. If the LLM was the last touch before the form fill, the lead counts. That's the strict version of the data. Real LLM influence is bigger than what last click can see, which is exactly what section 2 is about. Now, section 2 is about the attribution gap. This is the big one, right? Two numbers stand out. 65,000 sessions came in from LLM citations, but only 82 leads got attributed back to LLMs by HubSpot. Now this 82 is accurate. Someone clicks a citation, lands on the site, fills a form in the same session. That's about 5 to 10% of how B2B buyers behave. The other 65,501 sessions are not exactly wasted. They are the part that HubSpot can't really see. 4 common behaviors fall off the attribution map. 1. A buyer reads a piece, drops it on a Slack channel, then types the brand into Google 2 days later. HubSpot calls that organic, but the LLM did the work. Now, second scenario is a buyer compares vendors inside ChatGPT, never clicks through, surfaces months later as direct after the team picks a shortlist. Scenario number 3. A buyer scrolls past a citation on mobile, comes back on desktop, types the URL directly. And scenario number 4 is all the research happens inside ChatGPT and the form fill happens weeks later and doesn't carry any AI footprint. So the right read is there's a lot more going on behind that number than the tool will ever show you. Now let's get to section 3. 2 priorities to lock in before going deeper. First, 72% of all LLM sessions come from ChatGPT. It's the volume platform by a long way. If your team can only optimize for one engine in quarter 2, this is the one. Second, 82% of the measurable AI leads landed on the homepage. A conversion happens once a citation drives the visit and the homepage does the closing. 2 more numbers worth pinning here. Pricing comparison blogs and long-form deep dives both converted at about 1.5%. This is 5 times the next closest format. And generic blog content, 12,000 sessions, 0 leads like I said. Big citation engine, but there's no pipeline behind it. If there's one line to take from the study, it's this. The LLM session is the part that you can see. The conversion, when it happens, often shows up later under a different channel that takes the credit. Section 4. The page types that LLMs cite the most. Home pages, unsurprisingly, take the top citation slot on every platform that we measure. 20,917 sessions and 67 of the 82 attributed leads that we counted. 2 things worth noticing here in the chart. First, LLMs reach into a wider mix of pages than Google does. Google ranks 1 URL per intent. LLM surfaces multiple category pages, glossary pages, tools, dashboards, and everything else. The kind of surfaces that classic SEO traffic never lit up. Second, homepages are now doing conversion work they were never built for at this volume. And blogs are pulling citation traffic they were never built to convert from. Section 5. The blog formats that convert. This one matters for content teams planning Q2. The generic blog bucket like I said, has 12,000 plus sessions but zero leads. That's the biggest bar on the chart and it produces nothing. Two formats break the pattern. Pricing comparison blogs converted at 1.5% across the portfolio. Long-form deep dives converted at 1.47%. Both are short on volume and tall on intent. The rest, listicles at 0.04%, alternative pages at 0.24%, and so on. So listicles still do work. They feed Perplexity citation widgets, for example. They feed ChatGPT site links, for example. They keep the brand in the consideration step. They just don't pull form fields directly. For Q2, keep the listicle engine running for citation surface. Put the new investment into pricing pages and long form deep dives. That's where the pipeline shows up. Section 6, how each platform behaves. Now, like I said, ChatGPT is the engine. 47,000 plus sessions, 71 leads, 0.15% CDR. 72% of the LLM session volume, 87% of the LLM-attributed leads. Gemini has 7,000 plus sessions and 4 leads. AC volume, light conversion. Gemini citations skew more towards home pages and editorial blog content. Coming to Perplexity, it has less volume than Gemini, but more conversion. Perplexity weights long-form citation more than any other platform. Buyers landing from Perplexity tend to be further down the funnel. Coming to Claude, the volume is relatively small, but it's worth watching for the slope. March session volume was very high compared to January, especially because of Claude Code, and the product is improving at a rate that's faster than any other engine out there. Same thing on every platform. Homepage takes the top citation slot. Even Copilot's tiny session count is dominated by homepages. Section 7, the Q2 allocation plan. This part maps directly to next quarter's content roadmap. The grid on the screen scores each content type against each platform. 3 rows come back high: homepage optimization, price comparison blogs, and long-form deep dives. Everything else stays at low. Listicles, tools, calculators, comparison posts. We found that they don't really move pipeline, so don't over-invest in them. So your Q2 budget split must be 70% ChatGPT, 12% Perplexity, 10% Gemini, 5% Claude, and 3% Copilot. Mirrors session share with a small lean towards Perplexity given how Q1 converted. Now, for the 12-month outlook, 2 things worth watching here. First, attribution tooling is going to get better. This 82 versus 65,000 gap closes when models start passing identifiers downstream that HubSpot and the rest of the stack can read. Some of that work is already in motion. Second, Claude. Volume today is small. The slope, though, is the most interesting thing in the data. A weekly check on Claude session share to Q2 is cheap insurance against missing the inflection. So that was the gist of the study. The full report is on TripleDart.com. I'll attach the link below in the comments. If there's a specific section or platform that you want a deeper dive on, do let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.